my darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing 3 sets of Star Wars comics from Marvel. They are Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Obi-Wan Anakin. These are all 5-issue miniseries, and I've got the trade paperbacks for these. Right now my obsession is Star Wars. I've been binge watching Star Wars The Clone Wars, so here are the comics to try to get me to just read and not just watch Netflix all the time. First off, both the Princess Leia and Han Solo comics follow Star Wars A New Hope. So if you haven't already seen the original Star Wars movie, you should totally do that before reading these comics. I don't know why you would be interested in Star Wars comics if you haven't seen at least the first movie. And also, this review will also spoil that movie if you haven't seen it already. Okay. So the first comics are Princess Leia. They're from 2005. The writing in this is by Mark Waid, and the art is by Terry Dodson. These follow Princess Leia after the Death Star destroyed Alderaan, and we get to see her dealing with the grief of her entire planet, including her family getting destroyed, which I was excited about because that's kind of something that's like, hey, this is this huge event that happened in her life, but we don't get to see her actually dealing with that in the saga. So excited for these to fill in that plot point. So after Alderaan is destroyed, Leia is the last remaining member of the royal family, and there are actually other Alderaanians on other planets, and Leia decides to help save them from the Empire that is totally willing to go out and destroy every single remaining Alderaanian just to completely destroy Alderaan's impact. So Leia goes on this mission to save them all, gather them up, and try to start a new society, find a new planet, a new home for Alderaan, and preserve their culture. So within this comics, it does address the fact that Princess Leia is basically the reason why Alderaan got destroyed in the first place. Because Darth Vader wanted to make a point to her personally, so he picked her planet. We also get to see what Alderaan values and what life was like on that. We see some flashbacks. We get to see her growing up, training to be a princess, and I love those flashbacks. The art in these comics is pretty okay. I think it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of softer than the other Star Wars comics, and that seems weird since we have a female lead comic to like make that decision with the art also, to like feminize it, and I'm kind of not sure that I'm alright with that. So the art's a bit weird, especially with the faces and like accentuating their eyelashes and stuff to make them like make her seem super feminine. Not my favorite art decision, but it's not horrible. Like I can totally go with it. In these comics, Leia also teams up with Evan. It's Evan, and she's a girl, and I love like these 2 female Alderaanians going off and having their own adventure and their own journey, so I like that part of these comics too. So on the whole, I gave these 4 stars. I super enjoyed them, I loved them, and would totally recommend Princess Leia. You guys are trying to find Star Wars comics to read. Next up, I have the Han Solo comics. These are from 2016. The writing is by Marjorie M. Louis, and the art is by Mark Brooks. And this one follows Han Solo and Chewbacca as they are given a mission to rescue spies for the rebellion. And their cover to kind of go unnoticed by the Empire is this, to participate in this race, this space race called the Dragoon Void. So the Dragoon Void is a very prestigious race. There's a lot of street cred. There's a lifetime reward, like you get paid in installments every year if you win it. And Han has personally been dreaming about competing in this race for like ever. So he is so excited to do this. And so he has kind of this inner turmoil about, is the mission more important or is winning more important? And can he actually achieve both? I love it. I love also seeing Chewie with him, and they're in the Millennium Falcon, so I love the aesthetics of this comic. Art in here is pretty much what I expect from the rest of the Star Wars comics, so excited for that, and colorful and fun. Also getting to see other parts of the Star Wars galaxy and other people who live there and species, which is fun. To see all the other racers. Yeah. Not a huge race fan, but I still loved this comic just because of the way the story is told. I also really enjoyed the Han Solo comics, and those are also 4 stars for me. And lastly, I have Obi-Wan and Anakin, and these are from 2016. These take place in between Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I don't think it really spoils them. So if you have a basic understanding of Star Wars, probably sufficient. And as my brother says, you don't have to watch Phantom Menace anyway. Writing in these comics is by Charles Soule, and art is by Mark Checchetto. I know I butchered both those names. They're down in the description below if you guys want to check out how they're actually spelled. Sorry. So these comics follow a teenage Anakin as he's in training under Obi-Wan Kenobi. The two of them are close, not as close as they will get. There's some roughness going on in their relationship. It's definitely not easy training Anakin, who likes to question everything and has different views about what a Jedi should be. And also the fact that Anakin is a lot older than, he started training at a much older age than they would typically train Jedi. So while the rest of the Jedi that are Anakin's age are finishing up their training, Anakin's not done yet. And that's also kind of a rough part in their relationship and Anakin's journey. So the story follows them responding to a distress call on the planet of Cornelian 4. It's supposed to be a dead planet. There was this war raged on it that just decimated everything. And when the two of them get there, they find out that actually the war is still going on and there are survivors. And this war has been going on for generations. And things don't look good. So we have Anakin and Obi-Wan stuck in the middle of this war, and the two of them trying to balance their desire to help and their promises they've made to the Jedi Order, and really just wrestling with how they feel, especially how Anakin feels about being a Jedi and their role as peacemakers and how best to go about that. So the art in here is interesting. The foreground characters and ships and stuff are much more prominent. They're more what I expect from comics, whereas the backgrounds tend to blend a bit more on this planet that they're on, which is interesting. Obi-Wan's also got a few moments here where he just looks absolutely boss in his Jedi robes and his beard and everything. And we've got teenage scrawny Anakin in these, which is fun to watch and see. I love the visuals of this. This comic I didn't like quite as much as the Princess Leia and Han Solo ones. I gave this comic 3 stars. Part of that might be the fact that Anakin's kind of a hard character to love completely. I adore Obi-Wan, but he's not the most endearing character in this comic either. This is Obi-Wan trying to be the teacher and trying to be serious and trying to keep a distance. So, not my favorite versions of either of these characters, but on the whole, I liked the storyline and finding out what was happening on this planet and who put the distress call in. So, still 3 stars. So, there are my reviews for Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Anakin and Obi-Wan and Anakin comics, whichever way that goes, and how I felt about them. I will post links to the other Star Wars comics that I have previously read and reviewed down in the description below if you want to check them out also. They were all worth reading. I enjoyed reading them all. They're graphic novels, they're comic books. It took an hour to read each volume. There's only 5 issues per story in each of these, so not hard to read. It doesn't take a ton of time either. It's just fun to read them. Interesting to have more backstory and get to spend more time with our favorite Star Wars characters. Peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.